Today I want to talk about very basic thing, how the image manifests work. And when I say image, I mean container images or cloud native artifacts, things that are stored in the so-called Open Container Initiative or OCI registries. So if you go to the OCI GitHub repository, you can find the image spec there. And if you're interested to read through it, the whole specification describes how container images are composed and what they consist of. But very briefly, here is how that works. Each image is actually built from different layers that are layered on top of each other. Imagine that you have a container image. So this image has 3 layers. The way that this container image is described based on the OCI specification is that there is a manifest for this container image. Let's say this is the manifest for the Python 3.14 image. Okay. Now this manifest references each individual layer. So in the manifest, each layer is referenced and the manifest describes the image. Now, interesting part is when you have the so-called multi-architecture or multi-platform image. Imagine that this image is the Python 3.14 image that runs on Linux and AMD 64. Let me add this to the, this is Linux AMD 64. Okay, and then you can have another Python 3.14 image which can run on Linux but ARM 64. Okay, ARM 64. And you can have another image that can run not on Linux but on Windows. And so you have Windows, ARM 64 or AMD 64, doesn't matter. Now there is a way to actually create the so-called manifest index that links to each of those images, and when you try to pull the image, Docker engine or containerd they recognize your platform and they know how to pull the right image. So this is a manifest index, and this is the index for Python 3.14, and this is platform independent index. This index references each one of these manifests, and once again when Docker needs to pull the image based on the index, the platform that you're running on your machine, it decides which one of those 3 manifests to pull, as well as the corresponding layers. Now let's take a quick look how that looks in real life. So I will pull the manifest for the Python 3.14 image from Docker Hub. So ORAS manifest fetch, and then we'll say Docker IO library Python 3.14. Okay, and I'll use JQ to format it properly. Okay, now this is the image manifest or the index image, index manifest for the Python 3.14 image. Okay. The way that you can recognize it is by the media type of this JSON that gets returned, and the media type says that this is OCI image index JSON. Okay. Now, if you export this, you will see that there are a lot of manifests here. So let me scroll to the top, and what you will see is that there are quite a few manifests here. So if you look at this main element called manifest, you'll see that this is an array of multiple manifests in the image. And you will see here that there is another like referenced manifest, which is for a image manifest, not index, that is for AMD64 Linux. This is exactly the thing that I explained in the other picture, that this manifest index can reference multiple manifests which are for specific platforms. Scrolling down, we can see that there is ARM Linux for v5 ARM, there is ARM Linux v7, there is ARM64 Linux v8, so different platforms that are referenced from this index. So this is 386 Linux, their PowerPC, and so on and so on. Now, if you take one of those digests, so let's say we'll pick the first one, I'll go up to the top, and we had AMD64 Linux. So this manifest, which is referenced by this particular digest, is the individual in the manifest for the image that is for AMD64 Linux. So let me take that, I'll copy it, and I will say, instead of pulling 314, I'll do this particular manifest. Okay. Now, if you look at this one, it's a much smaller manifest. It says that the media type now is a manifest, not index, as the previous one was. And this one references the layers for this particular platform image. Now, this manifest references the layers, these particular layers for this Linux AMD64 Python 314 image, while the reference that was in the index, the one that we copied, going back to the top, oops, so this one is actually a reference to this manifest. So this is very briefly how the manifests and manifest index work for OCI images.